Grave City, we saw tragedy arrive on a quiet
The
morning.
family is there, and they're getting ready to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in. Okay. My name's Robbie Parker. My family is one of the families that lost a child yesterday in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting here in Connecticut.
And danger. Continuing danger.
Hour of danger. Very, very dangerous world. A grave new threat.
Horrific acts of atrocities. Murderous regimes
Dedicating to killing us.
tyranny and terror.
Slaughtered thousands. Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction. Weapons programs.
The deadliest of weapons.
Terrible weapons. Nuclear weapons.
Nuclear weapons.
Poison gas.
Torture chambers.
Mass graves.
Yes. When you kill people, you win points, right? For example, you kill a prostitute, and that's a big thing.
Frozen in fear.
Her face was frozen. It was frozen in fear.
Her face looked frozen.
Her face looked frozen. Her face was frozen in fear.
She was such an attractive woman, but her face was frozen in fear. Her face looked like it was stone.
We're the greatest nation in the world.
And I'm Kelly Ring. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Well, new at 10 tonight, students at this middle school in Polk County feared for their lives when police with guns burst into their classroom in the middle of the day. It turned out to be a drill, but they didn't know that. And tonight, many parents at Jewett Academy in Winter Haven.
Deadly technologies.
Radical ideology of hate.
Terror threats.
Terror.
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 War on terrorism.
War against terrorism.
Global war on terror.
Global terrorism. 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 Terrorism.
She looked like stone.
It looked like stone. The children were so frightened. I didn't know why they were on my lawn. I didn't know how they got there. They were sitting there. And I had no idea.
This is just one of numerous allegations of brutality coming out from across the country this week. On Monday, a Nebraska family filed a lawsuit against 32 Omaha police officers after an alleged parking violation turned violent back in March. This YouTube video allegedly shows 4 officers reporting to a complaint of an illegally parked truck. 28-year-old Octavius Johnson, the owner of the truck, is then slammed to the ground. He was later charged with resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. His brothers Jaquez and Demetrius were also arrested and charged while filming the incident. The family claims the officers violated their constitutional rights when they broke into the house and confiscated one video of the confrontation. One officer has been temporarily reassigned as a result of this video. The ACLU is helping the family with the lawsuit.
How are you going to prepare for that?
New tonight, teachers and school administrators that will carry guns in the classroom this fall trained today. 4029 was there as they learned how to handle an active shooter situation.
Republican Senator Chuck Grassley said something yesterday that, well, really caught our attention. And he said we're ignoring a major part of the problem, violent video games. Here he is.
There are too many video games that celebrate the mass killing of innocent people. Games that, despite attempts at industry self-regulation, find their way into the hands of children.
We're the greatest nation in the world.
And really, right now, we're victims until somebody can get here to help us.
Now it's time for a brief history of the United States of America. Hi, boys and girls, ready to get started? Once upon a time, there were these people in Europe called pilgrims, and they were afraid of being persecuted. So they all got in a boat and sailed to the New World where they wouldn't have to be scared ever again.
Will have to accept the loss of internet freedoms if they want better protection from terrorists. That's the message from the head of the UK's National Crime Agency.
You heard the principal come over the intercom. She said, "We are going on hard lockdown." Around 30 minutes later, we heard something by the door, and all of a sudden the door opened. There was a gun barrel sticking out. We were scared. We didn't know it was a drill. We thought there was a gunman right through that door.
Terrorism. 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 Terrorists. 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 Terrorists.
Terrorist, 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 terrorist.
Terrorist.
Terrorists. 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 Terrorists.
It's interesting that you say that video games aren't, I mean, you know, because people have talked about Adam Lanza reportedly, a game aficionado. And Senator Grassley did just in the past literally couple of moments, sir, send in a statement. And I wanted to read you something that he said. He said, look, this is much more than gun violence. But then he brings up this. He says it shouldn't be acceptable to any of us, including in Hollywood and in video games, where mass killings seem to be glorified. The Norway mass killer wrote in his manifesto that he trained for his shooting spree that killed 77 people by playing video games. That is a pretty damning statement, and that man did say that he trained.
We are the greatest nation in the world.
In New Hampshire, 3 Seabrook police officers are on paid administrative leave after this 2009 arrest video went viral Monday on YouTube. The video shows 19-year-old Michael Bergerin having his face slammed into a wall by police officers after leaving the booking room. He is then pushed down to the floor and pepper sprayed. One of the officers even takes a moment to look up and smile for the camera.
Brett Rain shows us why they're being armed in the first place. It's new tonight.
Right now, more than 20 teachers are participating in an active shooter training exercise.
What would you do if that guy comes through your door? We're not going to be victims anymore.
Now, a select group of Clarksville teachers
and
will
tonight,
be
many
armed.
parents at Jewett Academy in Winter Haven, they're furious that they were not told about the drill ahead of time. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is out there live tonight. Okay, what are school officials saying about this, Aaron?
Well, Kelly, this is policy in Polk County. The school resource officer and the principal plan out when this kind of drill is going to happen, but only they know about it.
Turns out the police came in and we were relieved that it was police, but they still kept the guns at us for a few seconds.
They're a threat to the gene pool.
For example, you kill a prostitute, and that's a big thing.
It started out as a normal morning at Jewett Middle Academy. And then, an hour into school,
our principal had announced that we were going to have a lockdown.
Lauren Mariano's 7th grade class huddled in a darkened room, and then they heard voices.
We actually thought someone was going to come in here and kill us.
First, they have to go through training.
Action! Neither parents, nor students, nor teachers were told ahead of time.
September 11th, September 11th, September 11th.
September 11th, September 11th, September 11th. September 11th, September 11th, September 11th. September 11th, September 11th, 2001.
American imperialism and our protection of oil interests in the Middle East are destabilizing the region and allowing groups like ISIS to gain power.
As a Western civilization, we're to blame for a lot of the problems that we're facing now. I don't think anyone would argue that we didn't create the problem of ISIS ourselves.
We are, at some level, the cause of it.
The amount of spending that America has on causes of potential destruction in the world is really outlandish.
We have a very big vocabulary world, the words of Cambridge. I'd like to see which one of them is willing to defend this country. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, if you're going to bash it so much.
Those are a bunch of snot-nosed brats.
We are the greatest nation in the world.
I think that you would hear very similar sentiments if you went to university campuses across the country right now, unfortunately.
They don't have anybody in their family that's ever taught them anything about this country and what the DNA of our country is about.
Over globalization, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
They're a threat to the gene pool.
September the 11th, September the 11th.
September 11th, September 11th, September 11th, September 11th, September 11th, September 11th. September 11th, September 11th.
September 11th, September 11th.
No, I don't.
How young?
Sorry, I don't.
How young was the youngest victim?
Sorry, I don't.
How young was the youngest?
Sorry, I don't. How young was the youngest? It wasn't a tent. It was this magnificent thing.
Between 2008 and 2012, citizens filed hundreds of complaints alleging police brutality, bias, and civil rights violations. Only 1% were investigated. In the other 99%, police agencies reportedly either exonerated the officers, dismissed the complaints as frivolous, determined that they did not have sufficient evidence, or simply never closed the investigation.